So really important foundational idea for rhetoric. And again, really connected to the idea that rhetoric was named because democracy was being invented and being worked through. We've got, again, people working together to set rules for the entire society. So how do we come up with that? And so that's where, when we talk about truth, we have what we call big T truth and little t truth. So big T truth would be an absolute truth, like it is always true all the time. So I'm filming this video on a day after it snowed. Snow is cold. That is a big T truth. But connected to that, we all experience the cold slightly differently. So what I would think of as that is too cold for me to go out and sled, my 12-year-old might have an entirely different understanding of that. So how we experience the cold would be a little T truth. That's really small in relation to, weather and stuff that's outside. When we're talking about big T truth and little T truth, especially in relation to rhetoric, we're really talking about, or what the Greeks were really working through, is what is always an absolute and what changes based on the time or the group or the audience. What is questionable and discussable and changeable? Everything related to culture is a little T truth, because culture is constantly changing. Everything related to the rules of the law. I mean, we've got, like the don't kill people, big T truth, but then beyond that, we have a lot of little T truths in relation to how we navigate the world, what it means to be nice, what it means to dress appropriately, what do we wear to official events? What does that look like? What does it look like for different people who embody different bodies? Those rules change constantly over time. When we look at, what is good for a state at various times, again, little T truth, because that changes over time. So these are really helpful for understanding, like, what were the Greeks struggling with in theorizing about rhetoric? Like, why didn't we come up with, here's the definition of rhetoric, and then it's not changed for 2,000 years? And the answer to that is little T truth, because we literally live in little T truths. Most of what we're going to persuade others about, what we're going to argue about, what we're going to talk about, is all in relation to little T truths. What do I want to eat for lunch? Food needs to happen. We know that. Different cultures eat different foods, so heavily into little T truth. But then what do we have available, and what are we going to do with those things that are available, and can we make them? Do we have all of the ingredients? If we're not just cooking for ourselves, does everyone agree that that's what we want to eat? My syllabus has what we would consider big T truths, right? It has due dates. That's when things are due. But then I have a late policy. So that immediately shifts the due dates from absolutes to, honestly, little T truths, as long as you've read the syllabus and you abide by what it says there. So the big T truth part of it is, here's how to request an extension. The little T truth part of it is the due date. We live, like, every single day, all the time, we live in little T truths. And that's why rhetorical theory was named and has an early initial definition, especially one that really works and really sticks. But that definition needs constant tuning and constant changing, because we're living in little T truths, and the little T truths today are vastly different than the little T truths of Greek times. And so we need to constantly change the definition, fine tune the definition to meet our contemporary needs. So big T truth, absolutes, little T truth, all of the constant changing things that are impacted by culture, the way that culture and the way that humans experience everyday life that cause us to need to persuade others about things. Little T truth. So pretty much every time we communicate, we're communicating in little T truths. Okay, if you have questions about this part, because big T and little t are a little bit complicated, make sure that you ask them in your guided notes, or if you want an answer before you submit these guided notes, make sure you reach out. I'll see you online.